So this morning, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn appeared with his attorneys here at the Federal District Courthouse in Washington and pleaded guilty to a charge of making false statements to FBI agents. Now, this plea had been expected. There had been some movements over the last few days that indicated he was making a deal. And today, Flynn said that in exchange for his plea, he is going to cooperate with Special Counsel Robert Mueller as part of his investigation into possible collusion with Trump associates and Russia during the 2016 presidential campaign. One of the main things that came out in the courtroom today and in court papers that were unsealed today is that Flynn has admitted that during December of last year, before President Trump came into office, during the transition period, transition officials directed him to make contact with Russian officials about two specific issues. One was the response to U.S. sanctions that were imposed by President Obama in response to Russian election interference, and another was for a UN Security Council resolution. Now, this is the first time that we've actually seen Flynn appear and talk about what happened and some of the things that were being investigated by Special Counsel Robert Mueller. And so some of the unanswered questions that we have right now are, who are these Trump transition officials that were directing his work at that time? And is he possibly cooperating with the government against them or providing information that could be used against them? Today in the courtroom, Flynn appeared and he spoke in a soft voice. He answered several questions that you usually have in these types of hearings. It was a very routine type plea hearing. And then shortly after 11 today, he said those words, guilty, and pled to this charge. Now, this is a felony charge. And so, but we don't yet know what this means in terms of whether he'll face any kind of prison time. The maximum for this charge is 5 years, but we won't know a lot of that until a later date when they sentence him. The main unanswered question now is, coming out of this plea is who's next that Robert Mueller is looking at. When you're looking at the plea agreement, there are at least two transition officials that had phone calls with Michael Flynn that he later lied to FBI agents about. And so, at this point, all we know is that they have filed charges against him, or a charge against him, and that he's pled guilty to that. But there are a lot of indications, and as we continue to mine these documents, that the investigation is moving closer and closer to people in the Trump inner circle.